Fucking wrong intro! Wrong intro!
We're off to a smashing start.
Fuck! How'd that happen?
Well,
this video
space magic. It's always space
this
magic.
video isn't getting monetized after the amount I just swore. Keep going.
Train's already derailed again. But that's okay, because this train is TELEVERSE Reviews, and this happens. I'm your host, ALANNIS Maximus. This is my co-host, TOMYE. I pointed the right way this time. And we are bringing you our review of episode 5, season 2 of Beavis and Butt-Head. But the new season 2, not the first season 2.
We always have to say that because then people are like, season 2?
Exactly.
That was like 1994.
That's not hot off the press. No, you're just behind in the times. Stop judging us.
Hey, if you're coming here for things hot off the press, I suggest you go somewhere else.
Hot off the press, wholesome entertainment.
Yeah.
You're not getting any of that here.
Yeah, your kids like don't want to see anything like we're doing, and also you don't want to see anything we're doing. So now that we've both gotten that out of the way, let's get on with our review.
So this episode we once again saw in the second half old Beavis and Butt-Head. I think to start off in a nutshell, I think this episode's strongest point was the first one, cigarette plant. It just consistently had me cracking up, and just the half of the one, like the jokes that the gags that Beavis had coming out in this were just pure gold. Like
it was so good, man. It's like I love like when their like realization like popped into their heads that they were like able to grow tobacco. Whoa, we're gonna be out. You can grow cigarettes. Like,
oh, one thing I did notice as well in this episode, the first one, I think you mentioned a couple of reviews ago that in these newer seasons, everyone's a little bit older since Beavis and Butt-Head do the universe, except Beavis and Butt-Head. I noticed Van Driesen does look older. He looks a bit wrinkly, whereas he used to look young.
It's interesting, man. Like, I really think that's a cool dynamic that they've brought into this, this show. Is like, it's just like a little change, and it's not noticeable really unless you kind of think about it a little bit or whatever. You know what I mean? I think it's a cool little thing to add in.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you think this compared to the smashing episode that we got last week?
I think it was almost as good. Not quite, but almost as good. It had some, like the first half was just, I was in stitches the whole way through. Like it was just nonstop hilarious. Not that the second half was bad, but I don't think it held up as well as last week.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, man. I have to agree. I definitely think that it was maybe on par in funny, but without the sort of like character development that we got with like Butt-Head last week,
Yeah. Definitely.
And I mean, like, what do you feel? How much are you enjoying like the older aspect of Beavis and Butt-Head, like those episodes?
I'm not minding it. I think they've got it balanced right. Like it's not all the time, but it kind of, I think it keeps it fresh as well. Like I think they're intentionally doing it because there's only kind of so far you can go with how long they've been going and what they're doing. I think it helps keep it a little bit fresher. It gives it a bit more ground that they can cover, I think.
How would you feel about them doing a whole season like that, though?
I don't think a whole season would work. I think I'd miss the younger Beavis and Butt-Head, but here and there definitely works.
What do you think the chances of us ever seeing Stuart and stuff are again?
I don't know. I've wondered why he hasn't been in there. Maybe the voice actor hasn't signed on, but he'll have to be older as well. And Todd, I'm surprised we haven't seen Todd. I need him to come back.
Yeah, we haven't seen the gym teacher yet either, have we? Or did we see him in Do the Universe?
I think he was in Do the Universe briefly, but in the principal, I think was. Yeah, we haven't seen Todd. I think maybe we saw a snippet of Todd in the background, but no actual like talking or anything.
Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, me and you were both saying like that we both think this was another Smash episode, and like as you told me, like it's becoming like weekly, every week kind of thing that's happening, you know. So like I don't know, it's like it's hard to like give all these a different ranking to each other and stuff because I almost feel like it's all pretty even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except for like a few maybe standout moments, which makes an episode that little bit better. But they're all pretty like on par with each other. You know?
Definitely.
I mean, like this part here where like, but Beavis is just eating the cigarette butts, and he's suddenly getting addicted to them within like the space of half an hour. You know, like.
And then in the end, he's like, "I've got a tumor on my tongue, low birth weight."
Yeah. Yeah, that woman kicked my ass so hard. Oh my god, it was so good, man. I mean, I really think that this season has been probably even better than the first season we got from Mike Judge last year, or like 9 months ago. I think that this season just like is just like impressive in every aspect. Is my dog gonna bark? I'm looking at her. She looks like she's gonna bark. You're going to go over the balcony if she does. But like, man, this part here, I was dying at, man, how they're just ripping this fucking garden to pieces and like smashing the greenhouse and like feels good though, you know, back to the soil. And then we want to be like George Washington. Oh, so you boys are telling the truth.
They just start laying into them. It's great.
Oh man, like what about how he goes? You've eaten like 80 cigarette butts. That's like 80 trees. Oh, there were some great moments in this. Some great moments. And yeah, like I think that while you say, and I feel the same as you, yeah, which is that we probably like it wouldn't be good to get like a whole season as like older Beavis and Butthead, but at the same time, I think it's something that would, if you did it for long enough, you would just become normal. Like, do you feel that too?
I feel it'll be a bit of an adjustment, but it would kind of slowly feel like the norm.
Yeah, I think because it's like they're still themselves. They're still in the same sort of situations that they would usually be in, maybe, but they're just more adult orientated. Like like the driving, they can actually buy alcohol now. Their apartments, like, oh, dude, how good was the apartment tour?
Yeah, in the cutaway music.
I was dying at that part, man. It was so funny how he's just like, over here we've got the empty beer bottles and some chip packets, and then
over in the door you'll see a collection of eviction notices.
And that dude is another good episode where they were ripping on like the cutaway video stuff, like the music video and shit. Like they picked really good ones this week, you know. Like I almost feel like the Powerade one wasn't very good from last week's episode. I thought that was like average as fuck, except for the fact that they knew like the names of like every Powerade or whatever, and then the fact that there was like one that you could only get in Japan and all that. That was funny, but like this week, I feel like that first song that they showed where the chick's just like talking forever, and it's just like then they do the house, and then the house tour one, and he nailed it out of the park. Do you reckon like? Because I was wondering what his process might be for like writing the parts to those. And I was thinking, do you reckon he like gets them to just like, he just sits there and watches a bunch of YouTube clips with like the mic to record and then like doesn't do every line, but does like improv and just goes like does 7 or 10 or 12 YouTube videos, all improv. And then he goes, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Do you reckon that's how he'd do it? Or do you reckon he'd have to actually pick out a video and then sit there and write jokes for it? Because it just seems to me like it's very off the cuff sort of feel.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon you might be right there. He kind of improvises over it, then kind of chooses what works the best.
Yeah, like maybe he like makes just a bunch of those clips of YouTube stuff and like edits the voices, Beavis and Butt-Head, and what they're going to say to each other, and just picks the best one. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, that one's worth it. That one's worth it. Go on, take it or leave it. You know what I mean? So I just would really love to like see, like we've had a 6 days to air or 7 days to air from whatever it was from South Park, where you got to see like how they wrote and made this like show in a week's time every time, but it would be cool to see like sort of like even just a 7-minute sort of featurette on how he makes the show, how he writes it, how he thinks of the concepts. You know what I mean? Like just like a little. I'm sure maybe there's something we can find on YouTube where they've done that in like bonus features on the Blu-ray for Do America or something like that. Like maybe, you know what I mean? We have to look into it because I think it'd be very fascinating to find out like how the process goes with him. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely,
it's all him. Yeah, I don't see the series going downhill at all at the moment, man. I think it's going really. I think it's really, really good. So strong. It's so strong. So, I mean, with that, like, how do you think this compares to like the previous like 4 episodes that we've gotten before this?
I think this is still didn't knock the last week's episode off its perch, but I think it definitely came close to tying with it. It was just consistently good. Like I don't think even like there wasn't really a lull in it. The cutaways were really good. I think the cutaways were even better this week than last week. So in some ways it was stronger, where the last one maybe was that little bit weaker from being the perfect episode.
I'm really glad that they moved away from just doing music videos, because I always hated when like in the older episodes and stuff, when it was like it would cut to the music video and it would be a music video you just don't want to listen to. And as much as they're saying funny shit back in the day, it wasn't as clever or funny as it is now. It was more just like, this rocks. Like it was just like, like very boring. And like I used to skip through those like to get the rest of the episode. And now it's like a great part of the show. And I think that was when he started doing that on the 2011 series with the MTV shows, like, 16 and Pregnant and whatever, like that's where it started being really good. You know what I mean? I mean, it was cool to see like some bands or some music videos or whatever you liked on the show or got to know from the show. That's the first time I heard that push the little daisies and make them come.
Oh, Wayne.
You remember that? How it was in that? Yeah. And Beastie Boys as well. I can't remember what music video. I think it was What You Want.
Yeah.
What you want?
Yeah, I think they also did you're right.
Yeah, so they're like the first times I'd ever heard those artists back in the early days. But I still think, it was very annoying sometimes with the songs that would come on or whatever, you know what I mean? So but you know what's interesting is the fact that like in the 90s when the show was on, they would like that would make music like bands, that would make artists, like they would be nobodies, and then Beavis and Butthead would air and they'd rip on the episode or they talk about the episode, and suddenly that song was huge and that artist became huge. So artists were like generally stoked to just be like genuinely stoked to just be on the show, even if they're getting ripped on or whatever, because it just meant that the show was so big at that time on MTV that it was like, fuck, like we just got the best promotion we could have ever gotten. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's very interesting because I don't see that happening with the YouTube stuff though, with this, you know.
No.
It's only the only reason you're going to get more views on it is because like the version that will get more views on it will be the one that Beavis and Butt-Head are actually speaking over. You know what I mean? Your video ain't getting shit. I mean, that'd be sick. Mike Judge, cut us out, rip on us. Hey, find anything from our podcast you want to use, chuck it on and just tear us apart. I couldn't get it.
Rip on us reviewing you.
That'd be sick, man. That'd be so sick. bro. That'd be so, like, not even just as a factor that it's us. Like, that'd be such a sick concept for him to take on. Is like, let's get a review of the show, and I'll rip on their review of the show. It would be so. That's clever as fuck, man. Hey, that was free, Mike. Like,
yeah, you don't have to put the check in the mail. We're giving you this one free because we're just good guys. Like,
and listen, hey, like, it would be that much of an honor to work on the show that look, we'll write the next fucking 6 seasons for nothing.
Yeah,
but just expect them to sometimes be missing stuff, or we forget things because either Alan will forget something because he usually forgets the scoreboard on this show, or I'll forget something because I'm just terrible with memory.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we should get on to our rankings for this episode and the previous episodes. Now, ALANNIS, do you want to explain to everyone how the ranking system works?
Absolutely. What we do is we break down the season episode by episode, ultimately a score out of 100, but we do it a little different. I give a score of 0 to 50. TOMYE gives a score of 0 to 50, and we combine it, and that is the total score. And at the end, we'll have every episode, every score will give you an average for an overall ranking of the season. So without further ado, what I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give this a 47 because it was pretty great. Not as great as last week.
And I'm right there with you, except for the fact that I'm a little bit higher on it just because of the amount of laughs that were in this. Like, I laughed audibly probably I'd say every minute and a half, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, legit. So I'm going to give this a 49 out of 50, which is not the 50 that I gave it last week, but goddamn, this show is trekking high to get, you know, one of the best rankings, overall rankings we've done so far, even though we haven't done a lot.
Absolutely
going to be a high one. So with that, let's bring up. So what does that make that? That's a total score of from 100. What is that? That's
that would be 48.
90, 96, 94, 90.
1 second. I did have it written down. That will make it.
Yeah, I can't be fucked with maths, man.
Yeah. That brings us up to 96.
So that means that that's a total of 96 out of 100, making it the second highest episode so far this season. So with that, the ranking goes a little like this. If you're listening or if you're watching, episode 4 is at number 1 with a 98 out of 100. Episode 5 is at number 2 with a 96 out of 100. Episode 3 is at number 3 with 92 out of 100. Episode 2 is at number 4 with an 89 out of 100. And episode 1 is sitting at the bottom so far at number 5 with a 77. Looking good. Looking very strong. Looking very good. I definitely think the first episode's been the weakest. I still agree. I'm happy with that choice. So, all right. With that, I guess we're going to wrap this up. ALANNIS, what have we got coming up this week for everybody?
We have the thrilling, the action-packed, the not overdone Fast X. Yeah, we're seeing it in 40X, and that's pretty much the only reason we are seeing it.
that's the funny thing about this, man, is that, like, when we, like, so when we're deciding what we're going to review, movie-wise, that is, like, brand new releases for Ranked and Reviewed and all those things, we usually look at the upcoming, like, roster of films for, like, that's slated for that year or, like, whatever, even if they don't have a date. And we write, like, a list of, like, the ones that we're definitely going to do and the ones that we're definitely not going to do. And we try to do every big release that we can do because we want to give people a review on movies, not necessarily just ones that we like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, we were definitely 100% hands down never going to fucking review Fast X. But the reason we're doing it is simply because of 4DX. So that's what I love, man. You're going to be sitting there loving the car chase scenes and stuff and probably snoozing in dialogue scenes. Just because we're going to have a sick time if Super Mario Brothers movie threw us around, and that was like the main parts that did that were like the Mario Kart bits. What Fast X?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't even watched the trailer for it, so I don't even know what the action looks like. But man, it would want to be like pretty much consistently action packed in the whole episode. Otherwise, this part of the final thing, like it's the finale movie, the first entry in the finale of the story, which was going to be a 2-parter, and now we found out it's going to be a 3-parter because money, money, money. Must be funny. All right, Alana. So yeah, Fast X. I put that up as coming Wednesday. I was completely wrong. Who gives a fuck though? It's Fast X. You'll get it on Thursday.
Yeah, yes, you will.
And all right, Alana. So I'm out of here to go suck dick at the old folks' home.
It's
just a job, man. You know.
Yeah, it's manual labor.
Yeah, that's right, guys. You just saw my cock-sucking ability, and I'm available for the right price. I can be bought. Let's not forget that. I can be bought. People are like, I can't be bought. I'm never selling out. Hey, I'll sell out to the cock all day if it means some cash, you know? All right.
Lovely.
That is your host, ALANNIS.
And that is the co-host, TOMYE.
And I'm your dud host that likes money and sucking dick for money. Not really. I never said I liked it. By the way, me and ALANNIS are going to get married, and my idea was that we're just going to have to get used to, you know, getting something up the butt or whatever. And then he was like, we could just get married and then like buy fleshlights each. And I was like, oh yeah, your idea is much better. Forget I said anything. So, all right. Thanks, guys. And we will see you for Fast X later this week.
Peace.
And Digman eventually, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm digging it, man.